All right, then. So first, what we have to do is you have to sign in into your GitHub account. So let me get into my GitHub account. So if you don't have your GitHub account, all you have to do is sign in into github.com, and please log in yourself by using your Google ID or LinkedIn, or use your email and password. Create yourself an account over there, right? And you have to validate, you have to verify your account and everything. Once you've been successfully verified, all you have to do is to search for git download. This needs to be downloaded in your machine. So click this and choose your platforms. So Mac or Windows or Linux. In this case, it's asking me to download for Mac, which in case I already successfully downloaded and installed in my machine so far. Okay, so please go ahead and make sure to install it, right? So once you installed it in your machine, you should configure your username and your GitHub username and your GitHub email address globally. So for that, you just need to search for git config username and email address. So that gives you the command. This is the command git config global username, and you should type your GitHub username over here. Then you need to configure your email ID which you used for your GitHub account. This is for your yeah, you should configure your username and email address globally. Then you can able to push or pull from your Visual Studio Code project. All right. So if you are using Windows, please make sure to open your git bash in the administrator mode. And if you are using Linux or Mac, it's fine to directly run this command. It will ask you to uh, give your password, right? So you just need to give your password, then it will be set as a global. Okay, fine. Now all I have to do is to create a new repository. Let me create a new repository, and I'm gonna give that as the restaurant UI. We're gonna use the Next.js, then we're gonna use the Shatcn, right? These are the things. Okay, we are just going to build the UI alone, so these are the things that we need to have. Then I'm going to use the TypeScript. Okay, so make sure that your repository name is available. Descriptions, we don't need any descriptions, so now I'm just going to keep this one as a private one. So if you wish to keep it as a public one, so feel free to use it as a public itself. Okay, so yeah, this is it. Then I'm just going to create a new repository. Perfect. So now we successfully created a repository for ourselves. All right. And now what I need to do is all I have to do is to clone this particular project in my local host. So I'm just going to copy this. Then I'm just going to open my terminal. Okay. So let me bring the terminal over here. Perfect. Now I should make it a little bit bigger so you can see it completely. Okay. So now what we have to do is all we have to do. So here now, right now I'm in my desktop. So you just need to navigate your desired project location where you want it to be. In this case, let me keep it in the desktop itself. And here I'm just going to say git clone, paste that URL, and I'm just going to give that project name a short form. Not, I don't need this complete project folder name itself. So I'm gonna say, let's say rest, or let's keep it as food app UI, something like this, short form, so we can remember and we can keep it in a short form, so that helps us to open it and maintain it easily. Okay, so here I'm just going to hit the enter, and that is going to clone that particular project. And here it's saying warning, you appear to have a cloned and empty repository. Of course this particular project is completely empty. And let me open this in the Visual Studio Code. There we go. So feel free to use any code editor. In this case, I'm gonna use the Visual Studio Code. Okay. So let me keep it side by side so that you can see it completely. Perfect. All right. So now here, uh, okay. So we're gonna use the Next.js, right? So let me get into the browser and search for Next.js. There we go. So let me open this and click the get started application. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can see there is an option called app router. And in this case, I'm going to click this left side menu option itself, installation. Okay. And here it's saying npx create next app, or you can use the manual installations for pnpm, npm, yarn, bun. All right. Let's go with this automatic installation itself. Here, I'm going to use the pnpm. If in case if you don't have any idea what is that pnpm or yarn or bun or npm, so basically all these things are the package installers, like you can say node package managers. Okay, so npm and pnpm are quite advanced. Like if you are using npm, sometimes it might take to download the packages for a very long time, and of course it will sometimes it will throws you the warnings, unwanted warnings and all the stuff. But if you're going with pnpm your or bun, so those warnings and everything will be handled by those package managers itself. In this case, I'm going to use the pnpm. So first, in order to use it, you should install it globally. So npm install -g pnpm. So this is going to install the pnpm globally. Okay, so hit it. So that is going to download and install that package. Then I'm going to say pnpm -version. So that is going to give us the installed version number of the pnpm. And now I'm just going to say pnpm create. If you're using npm, you should use the hyphen in between the create and next app, but here I don't need to give the hyphen for the next create and next app. So create space next hyphen app at latest one, and all these things needs to be downloaded in this specific folder itself. So in that case, /. Okay, so I don't want to create one more subfolder inside that folder itself. So hit the enter. That is going to download all these necessary things, and it is going to ask me whether what is you are going to use. You are going to use the TypeScript or JavaScript. Of course, we're going to use the TypeScript. Then do you want to use the ESLint biome or none? So in this case, I don't need any lint configurations, because this helps us to keep track that unused variables and the improper arrangements of the import statements. So to maintain the code properly, you can use this ESLint and all those things. In this case, since we are beginner level, let's skip this. And would you like to use Tailwind? Yes, of course. And source directory. So since we are using app router, I don't need the source directory. So let's say no. We are going to use the app router. Yes. And would you like to use the turbo pack? So Next.js 15 plus is the turbo pack. So we're going to use that. Yes. And would you like to customize the import alias? Of course, we are not going to customize the import alias, because every import statement should start from @components, @ something like that. Let's keep it as a default itself. There we go. It's successfully installed now. So let's fire it up. So pnpm run dev. Taking time. All right. So here we go. So let me say localhost 3000. There we go. Now we can see we have our application. It's up and running, which is perfectly fine. And that's what we needed, right? So let me stop the server. All right. And now all I have to do is to customize this GitHub README file. And I just need to push this into the repository, right? And that is what we need to do, because every time when you make some changes, we should need to properly commit it and push it to our GitHub, so we can maintain our code in locally, and we can maintain our code in the GitHub as well as, right? If in case if you lost your data in your local host, you in your local machine, you will have your updated code in your repository. So that's the reason every time when you're closing your machine, make sure that you properly commit it and properly push your code to your GitHub, right? So by this way, we can maintain our code safely. All right, so let's go ahead and start customizing this README GitHub file. I'm going to show you how to customize this by using GitHub formatting and as well as the ChatGPT to create ourselves an awesome README raw file. And we're going to put it and we're going to push it into the GitHub. All right, so let's move on to the next one.